off of my front screen so I can focus on everybody today. Again, this is what's new in Moodle 3.4. For those of you who have joined us in the past, we like to do a what's new webinar for each new version of Moodle, not only for our client base, but for the Moodle community as a whole. We also do monthly webinars on how to use Moodle in the corporate workplace, how to use Moodle in higher education, eThink advantages, things of that nature. So, quick agenda for today. I'm going to go through a little bit of an overview of Moodle and eThink. I looked at the registration list, and of the 350, 400, I recognized a lot of names. I know we've spoken with most everybody who's here today, but for those of you who haven't, I want to give an overview of Moodle and an overview of eThink. Not everybody in the session today already uses Moodle. I'd say about 90% of the attendees are already on Moodle, but I saw some folks who are on other systems and looking at the possibility of moving to Moodle who are joining us today. Then I'll turn it over to our services team to talk through the feature functionality and what's new in Moodle 3.4. Quickly before we get there, our services team is the best in the industry. Not just the Moodle industry, the LMS industry as a whole. It's what our entire business is built around. So I want to give a thank you to the services folks who joined us today. And we'll take questions. We'll try to take them throughout the session. If there's something that's relevant to the audience as a whole, maybe we'll reply all. We'll probably reply directly to most folks. We might try to work something into the conversation. And at the end of the session, we'll try to leave a little bit of time for additional questions. If we don't get to answer your question, we will follow up with you. Again, there's quite a few folks on the session today, so we'll do our best to make sure that we get most, if not all, the questions answered. And I was asked right before the session to add that we're hiring. I think we have 4 open positions right now. This seems like a logical audience to present that to. So you can either reach out to me directly, randy.jones@eThinkEducation, or email in to careers@ethinkeducation.com if you have interest in learning a bit more there. All right, so here are our presenters today. I appreciate everybody joining us. Vanessa Royce, who's one of our client care analysts, Jordan DeGroot, a senior client care analyst, and Claire Mesha, who's our director of support services. And quick pat on the back to myself, I got Claire's name right. I think this is the first webinar where I've gotten Claire's name right. Pretty excited about that today. All right, so we'll jump in and give a quick what is Moodle. And I know this is elementary for a lot of the folks who are on the call today. Some of the most important pieces here, Moodle is the most widely used LMS in the world, hands down, not even close. There's about 120 million users on registered Moodle sites worldwide. And I think it's a fair guess to say probably only 60% of the sites are actually registered. So I wouldn't be surprised if that number of Moodle users worldwide is closer to even 200 million users. It's an open source technology, so it's freely available. You can have Moodle before the end of this presentation. If you don't have it yet, you can download it and have it. Issue would be, once you download it, the question would be, what do we do next? I know there's some folks on this call who self-host Moodle. Kudos to you. It is very difficult. It's not an easy thing to do. Moodle is best to be deployed by experts. If you don't have experts in-house, that's what we're here for. We provide a fully managed Moodle service. So here's a little bit about eThink. We are a certified Moodle partner. We're a certified partner in Canada, the US, in the Caribbean, and Africa, and we have the ability to provide our Moodle service worldwide. What it means to be a certified Moodle partner, well, there's a couple things to that. First and foremost, a percentage of all of our revenue goes back to Moodle headquarters for continued development of the product. I know our group is working very closely with Moodle headquarters right now over some UI UX possibilities for upcoming versions. We're working with headquarters over how to improve functionality for Moodle for the workplace, specifically for the corporate arena. So as a Moodle partner, we do get to help develop that Moodle footprint and what features will be added for future versions. Our Moodle service is a fully managed Moodle service. That means that we become the extension of your team responsible for the LMS. The LMS industry as a whole is not known for great customer service. Sad, but true. Most of the prospects that we speak with, when we ask, if you have an issue, what do? What's your process? And typically we hear, yeah, well, we submit a ticket, and within 24 to 48 hours, we get a response. And that response is usually something along the lines of, yes, we're happy to help. Here's a link to a user manual and your 12-step process on how to accomplish what you're looking for. That's not how we do business here. Our team, as I mentioned here at the beginning of the session, is the best services team in the industry. We have a reputation in responding to support tickets in under an hour, and we'll go in and make the edits, make the changes, make the updates, do the integrations for you. So, for example, if you're at a college and you want the dean of the College of Business and Economics to have an observer role for the marketing courses, ask us. We'll go in and create that observer role. So we provide A to Z hosting. We're integration specialists. Both of our founders come from SunGard, which is under the Ellucian umbrella. In higher education, our SIS real-time integration is certainly the best, unquestionably the best. And in the corporate arena, we've done a great job in integrating with all of the different CRMs that are out there and different ERPs. One last point here, and then we'll move it over and get going on the primary topic today. Is our services group, which I do a lot of for our clients, is consulting. Moodle, by definition, it's modular in nature, right? The M in Moodle stands for modular. So our clients come to us often and say, hey, what do you recommend for content? What do you recommend for streaming video? Whatever it may be. We have a really good network of partners throughout the ed tech industry, globally really, who we can recommend. And even further, if you're just looking for a configuration change, hey, I'm looking to accomplish X. How do I do it? Our team is always there to brainstorm and think through what your possibilities may be. So I just wanted to give you an idea of the types of things our services team is dealing with every day, what the model is, and how they help our clients be successful. Over 10 years of business, we have a 99% client retention rate. And that's strictly because of the hard work of the services team. And we've been migrating about 50 Moodle sites away from their current Moodle provider and into our environment per year for the last 3 years. Last slide here, some of the other things that we provide. The support model that I'm mentioning is unlimited. There's no limit to the amount of tickets that you could support, the amount of time that you can work with our team. Our reporting is completely customizable. We keep each of our clients on a separate code base. Strategically, that allows us to really get into that code and manipulate the data and provide our clients with what they're looking for. We provide free training courses. These are modules in Moodle. So our users can use these modules to learn a Moodle in Moodle, right? There's no better way to learn Moodle. And they're customizable as well to meet your organization's specific needs. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our services team. Vanessa, I believe you're first up here. Again, I really appreciate you taking some time. I know this is a busy time of year for you and the team, so thanks so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for queuing me up there, Randy. So I want to pause here just for a second, give you guys a chance to look at this slide since there is a little bit of content here. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Vanessa Royce. I am a client care analyst at eThink. And I'll be talking about the first 2 bullet points here today. So the structure of what we have here is moving sort of from site level enhancements to then course level enhancements. So we're starting out with user tours and mobile, which affect the site as a whole, into improvements for calendar and changes to the enrolled users page, which is course level impact. And then finally, the last 3 bullet points there are related to activities and what you're going to find within the course itself. So I'll talk to you about the first 2 here, user tours and mobile. And then Jordan will jump in and talk to you about course level enhancements. And then last, we have Claire finishing up with those activity level impacts. So that said, we will talk to you thoroughly about each of these. So even if you didn't have a chance to read over everything there, we'll cover it for you. So Randy, I'm ready if you want to pass me presenter, and I'll jump in on user tours.
Excellent. Headed your way.
All right, thank you. Do you want to confirm you can see my screen for me?
I do.
All right, great. So before I launch in and confuse y'all. All right, so so I'm logged in here to the site homepage of our webinar site. So what you're seeing is the first page of our user tour, the first sort of pop-up. For those of you that are coming from an older version of Moodle, user tours were introduced in version 3.2 really as a way to help users with the new look and feel of the core theme of Boost. So some navigational changes that we saw, and these user tours help your users become acclimated with those differences. So what we've found is many of our clients share our enthusiasm about these because they provide really a creative way, but a functional way to direct attention to those key points, key features on the site that have changed. So what we find is that user tours appear when a user first hits a particular page. So upon login, like you're seeing here on the front page, or the first time they access a course, or even the first time your instructor creates a certain activity type. This is all determined by how you've set up the tours. So all of the settings related to the tours really allow for you to control what appears and where it appears. So pretty exciting stuff. We've done a lot of creative things with this, and so have many of our clients. What's new in 3.4, what I want to show you next, is the filters that we have that we can control tours now appearing on category pages or within certain courses. Even we can filter to course formats. So we can either avoid tours appearing within courses that don't have our targeted course format, or set tours to appear within certain course formats. So it's all pretty exciting stuff. This is a category level tour to give you a brief idea of what else can be done. This particular category is our training courses. So we're highlighting what's contained here. That'll let you know what you can find, and you can drill into a course that might be of particular interest to you in the moment. All right, so that's sort of those 2 user tours happening in reality. But let's talk about the behind the scenes and how you're going to get to this point with setting something like this up. So if you have administrative type rights on your site, you'll have the site administration link here in your navigation drawer. So you can start by clicking in there, and you're going to scroll down to the appearance section and click into user tours. So this is all that behind the scenes action that you're controlling what you've got set up on your site. You can see I have a pretty long list. We've been doing quite a bit of playing and adventuring with user tours. I want to show 2 different things to you at this point, just to give you a general idea of some of the features that you're going to see when you land on this page. So we have a column that's labeled enabled. If you can see, I have some eyes that are open and then some eyes that are closed. The ones that are open are enabled, and they're ready for use on my site. So when a user hits my site homepage, they're going to see the tour that's designated for my front page. Although if I have the eye closed, that's a tour that's not currently enabled on the site. So what I can do in controlling the visibility here is I can play around with the settings of these that are disabled, and until I perfect them, they will remain invisible to my users. So I can work on them behind the scenes, and then I can enable them when they're ready for use. The other thing I want to show you is where those filters live. So under the actions column, I have a gear icon that relates to the settings of my tour. So this is really the first thing you're going to do when you start setting up tours on your site. You're naming and describing some of those common behaviors that we have every time we're working with really any activity type in Moodle. If I scroll down, I have an entire section on those filters, and this is where I'm controlling that application of category level, particular course. And then also pretty exciting, that course format that I mentioned. As you can see with these filters, if your mind is spinning like mine is, I'm thinking of all of the ways that I can use this and how I can get really creative, impacting certain courses that have features that might be different than others, or categories where I'm using competencies, that kind of thing. So I would say I'm pretty confident in saying that the uses for these are probably endless. And we've seen quite a few really creative things done. So those are the filters that you're seeing and that you newly have access to with user tours in 3.4. I want to show you an application of those filters within this particular course. So I have my user tour prompted. First time I log into this course, this is what will appear for me. So what's different about this course and why would I have highlighted this with user tour? Well, the answer is I'm using competencies in this course. So perhaps I have instructors who are relatively new to working with competencies. I could structure a tour such as this to highlight key features and point them to what they need to know, where they need to go to really work effectively with the competencies in their course. So in the navigation drawer, we have a link to competencies. That's sort of step one, with linking what you've set up at the site level with a particular course. And of course, I had to say, if you haven't built competencies yet, we're happy to meet with you to discuss the possibilities. We've done a couple of sessions like that, and they've been intriguing, to say the least. So good stuff happening there. The next piece with competencies is we can connect them to activities. So we might have particular assignments that our learners are turning in that connect directly to the standards and proving their proficiency with various pieces of this course. The next thing that connects to competencies is what is considered the student-facing side of things, which is the learning plan. So if you click into a user's profile, you'll see a section for learning plans, and that's where you can see progress made or even take action on items that might need your review. So if a course is using competencies, we might connect a user tour to that course or even to a category of courses so that we're pointing out those key features for any instructors that are using those moving parts. Alrighty, so that's my full user tour. I would just sort of wrap up this topic. I want to say this has really been a hot topic for our clients. And we're always happy to talk to you about how you might implement them in a creative way on your site, or just brainstorm about any ideas for use that you might have. So the next topic that I have the pleasure of talking about is the enhancements to mobile. So right from Moodle Docs is this graph that outlines 100% support of core features in Moodle for version 3.4, which is exciting. We've been making progress towards this, and we finally hit that mark. Next up for our focus is plugins, which I know many of us will be happy about hearing. So I share your excitement with that as well. So one of the things that we can do additionally as administrators with mobile on our sites is we can encourage our participants to download that mobile app, and we can do that in a few ways. So on this page, I have scrolled down to the footer of my page, and hopefully you can see below this Moodle icon is a link to get the mobile app. So if I click that link, I can download the mobile app and begin use. The other place that I'll find that, and this is assuming you have enabled mobile on your site, is within a user's profile. So here I'm within my own profile, and I have a portion at the bottom for the mobile app, and again I have a link to download. So what's exciting about this is the visible links to download really give us more empowerment to encourage our users to access our site anytime, any place through their mobile device. We've seen really a huge increase in mobile usage, even for educational purposes. And recognizing that Moodle is focused on continued improvements to mobile. These are just a few examples of what they've been doing. The other thing that we're really hearing a lot about and truly seeing in practice is the focus on course design and thoughtful course design that translates well to mobile. That's another topic that we've discussed quite a bit with quite a few of our clients, and we anticipate it'll continue to remain, part of popular conversation going forward. So exciting things going on. And that's what I have. So I think we're going to head over to Jordan for course level enhancements. So take it away, Jordan.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Let me go ahead and get this over to Jordan. So I was middle of answering questions. There's some great questions coming in. So thank you all very much for those questions. Keep them coming, please.
All right.
There you go, Jordan. I see your screen perfectly.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm Jordan, and I am going to talk about the new features in the calendar and the enrolled users page. So right now I'm logged in as an instructor, and if we're going to look at the calendar, the one really new cool feature is that you can now drag and drop dates on the calendar. So for example, I have the syllabus quiz open date and the syllabus quiz close date. You can just drag and drop that to a new date. And then for this close date, let's say I want to move it to the next month. I can actually just hover over February and it'll let me drop it anywhere in the next month. I'll go back to January. For assignments, let's say you had set up a cutoff date and you just want to move this due date. You'll see that it'll turn red once it gets to a date that is past that cutoff date, and it'll give you a warning saying that you can't move that date any further. So if you wanted to move it, you would actually have to go in and go to the activity itself to change your cutoff date. But at least you're able to move it around within here, which is really cool. The other thing that they've added is you can now do category level events on the calendar. You would just go in to create a new event, and if you were logged in as a role that has permission to make category level events, it would show up here in this list. But since I'm a teacher, I can't do that. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the enrolled users page. So what they've done now is the enrolled users page has been combined with the participants page. So actually both of these links will take you to the same place now. And that's great because it's combining the features of both pages into one page. So now we can manage the enrollments and add new users to the course manually on the same page that we'd be able to view the students' information and send them bulk emails and other things. Another cool thing about this new page is they've created this status column, and they've added these color-coded labels for everything. So now you can easily see who's an active student, suspended student, and whose enrollment has expired already. From a support standpoint, I know a lot of instructors, when they look at their participants page, they want to maybe print it out and they don't want to see these. There's always the option to filter by active status. So then they'd only see the active users in the course. Some of the other things that are different here is just the way the different buttons look. Like when we click on enrolled users, it pops up as this different size rectangle than it normally would, minor. Along with when clicking on to change the roles, it pops up differently. But all around, it's the same, but combined. And that's great that they've put it all on one page. And I'm going to hand it off to Claire, I believe.
Great. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan. Claire, I'll get the screen over to you here momentarily.
Okay.
There we are.
All right. My screen coming through okay? Looks like it.
There it is. I see a little bit of your background there. It looks cold on your background.
It is, yes. I'll maximize it to not be in the winter blues. All right, so hi everyone. For the last set of features we wanted to talk about related to 3.4 today, similar to what I talked about in version 3.3. The features I'm talking about today, I think, are all pretty minor enhancements, but do add some nice functionality and enhances the usability for teachers. So the first thing that I'm going to start off with, just taking a look at the assignment module, got a new update. In the last couple versions, the ability to add to specify what files you wanted the students to upload was added, but it required you to actually specify the file extension of the files that you wanted to allow. So in 3.4, they have improved that a little bit and have given you a menu to select from when it comes to setting that in your assignment. So I'm turned editing on, and I'm just going to go into settings for my week 2 assignment here. And if I scroll down, you can see now there is before it was sort of allowed file types, and there was just a text field for you to type in, you know, your .docx or your .pdf. Now you get a menu to choose from. I'm actually going to back out to another week that hasn't been set up yet as a better example. And here you can see there's nothing selected yet. And I have this choose button that opens up this great big menu of options here. So basically every type of file you can think of, it organizes them by category. So you have document files, audio files, presentation files, video files, web files, and so on. So within each of these sections, you can expand it and then specify what you want to allow. Maybe you really only can accept files in Word document format. So this is a nice addition for instructors who, depending on what you have available on your personal machines, this allows you to restrict students to uploading that so that you can always get to their submissions. I know in the past, it was challenging if a student submitted like a WordPerfect or an OpenOffice document. If you don't have that software on your computer, it's not always as easy to get to it. And you can specify more than one. So maybe you'll accept Word, PDF, and maybe this assignment also, will accept a PowerPoint presentation if, maybe it's a project that has more than one different component. So once I make my selections here, I can back out. Oops, I forgot to scroll down and hit save. So my document files here, sorry. There we go. My Word document, my PDF, and come down here to the bottom and hit save, the important part. So this will accept Word documents and PDF files, and I can hit on save and display. And unless a student is trying to upload a file that matches that file type, that extension type, it won't accept it. So I think this is a nice new enhancement. I remember, in years past teaching, I wished that I had the ability to control that. And while we're here viewing this assignment page, that segues really nicely into the next feature that I wanted to talk about, is a little improvement to the activity navigation. So in the past, it's been possible to navigate around using your breadcrumb trail or using your navigation drawer here, but it's nice to be able, especially if you know where you want to go next. They've added this new menu. You used to see this in certain places. but now it's pretty consistent across the board where you can either go forward or back, one resource, what was accessible, within that week or topic. So we can see, based on the order they were displayed in here. Or I have this drop-down menu that allows me to jump around. So let's say I already know, and now I'm done with the week 4 assignment, and I want to jump forward ahead to the week 5 overview and see, what is awaiting me in that next week's assignment. So this makes it a little nicer to jump back and forth. I can go back to the previous. Nice little enhancement, I think, from both the especially from the student perspective, but also the instructor perspective, rather than what you might be used to doing is always, my habit is always to return back to the main course page or the section you were in. So I think this is really nice to make you more efficient as you navigate around the course. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you today, I'm actually pretty excited about this. Something that has been a needed enhancement to the activity completion features for a little while. So for those of you who may not be using it, I'll just give a little recap. These check boxes that you see here indicate the activity completion settings that have been enabled. Whether you have a dotted outline, meaning that you set some sort of criteria, whether it's a resource and you want them to view it, or it's an activity that you want them to engage with somehow, get a passing grade on, upload a submission, make a certain number of posts to a forum, and so on. So these are really great for being able to track student progress, see what they are completing within the course and not completing. And you also can use these activity completion criteria and tie that to access restrictions. So you can do something like, allowing once the students has completed all of the activities in week 2, they can advance on to week 3, for example. Or maybe they can't unlock the quiz until they have watched all of the videos and visited all the resources within that topic first. So the access restrictions tie into the activity completion, but sometimes, the activity completion may not have been triggered for some reason, or maybe it's something that the student wound up handing into you in person. You didn't really have a good way to override that and allow the student to continue on or to manually mark it off that they had completed it. The student had to either manually do it themselves or it had to be triggered by the system. So now in 3.4, from the completion report, so if I come here to my course editing menu and I come into the More option, here under Reports, we have our activity completion report. And I've always been a fan of this report. I like to see at a glance who has and who hasn't, earned the checkboxes on the activities where I've set criteria. And now you can see a few examples of this already. Similar to overrides in the gradebook, you as the teacher now have the ability to override activity completion. So, let's say George Washington here actually did turn in his week 2 writing assignment, but he, rather than submitting it via Moodle, he handed it in class. And, being early in the semester, I was willing to accept that. So I can come in here to the activity completion report and manually say, yes, he completed his week 2 writing assignment. And it'll say, are you sure you want to overwrite this? And I can click save. And then that checkbox will now, the outline will appear in red to let me know that an override has been applied as a visual reminder. So I think this is a really nice enhancement, especially if you are scaffolding activities and using the restrict access tied into activity completion. I think this is a great way to allow users who might be otherwise stuck to continue and, keep track for yourself as the instructor to use this as a way to track student progress. So with that, I think that wraps up the highlights of version 3.4 that we wanted to share with you today. I've been seeing lots of questions come in, but I've been trying not to read and talk at the same time. So I'm going to turn it back over to Randy, and I'm sure we'll answer some to the larger audience and some within the chat window itself.
Great. Thank you very much, Clara. I appreciate it. And, we got what we asked for. We asked for questions, and I think at one point, all 370 of you asked a question all at one time. So we're doing our best to keep up with them all. It sounds like there might be some that the team might want to address as part of the session. But first, let me say, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us. My name, again, is Randy Jones. My email address is quite easy, first name dot last name at ethinkeducation.com. We're happy to take any questions. If you'd like more of a demo of eThink services, please do let us know. We'd be happy to set you up with someone who's a specialist with your particular brand of Moodle, whether you're K-12, higher ed, corporate, nonprofit, government, whatever it may be. Happy to have that conversation with you. And again, we are hiring. It's an exciting time here at eThink. So if it is something that you've contemplated or considered looking for other opportunities for yourself, please feel free to reach out to us or to me directly. Team, is there anything that you'd like to address to the audience as a whole, or do you think that you've answered them privately all to this point? And I see the questions still coming in here, so thank you all. We'll continue to answer them. We're going to answer all these questions directly and privately. Claire, anybody else who's with us, if there's anything that you think you might want to address to the audience as a whole, that's great as well.
I would say if you are, a current client who's on the line with us today and are wondering about when you can upgrade to 3.4, definitely get in touch with us. There's, some variables to consider about, the timeline of moving to 3.4, but we wanted, since 3.4 has been out, we wanted to do this webinar to get it on clients' radar and get people excited about it as they start planning for, spring and summer upgrade season.
Great, and that's a great point you make, Claire, that for those of you who are not with eThink that are on this session today, one thing that we do that's a bit different from really what the marketplace standard is that we upgrade our clients on their own timeline. Again, we keep each of our clients on a separate code base, which really allows us great flexibility. And one of the advantages there is that we can work with each of our clients and determine when they want to upgrade, as opposed to pushing an upgrade on our clients. And there's one other non-functionality question I saw here, which I think is a good question and worth addressing, especially to this audience that is Moodle heavy. If you are interested in the eThink services, a Moodle to Moodle migration is really the easiest migration that we have here. Easy might be the wrong word because I have the services team with me here today, but it truly is only 2 files, and it's something that we've done, I'd say, between 130 to maybe 160 times over the last 3 years. So if you are already on Moodle and you're interested in the eThink Moodle environment, certainly let us know. And if you're on another solution, we've migrated from Blackboard and D2L and Cornerstone as well. So if you would like to explore those opportunities, please feel free to reach out to me. And I still see a ton of questions coming. We really appreciate it. We will continue, as I said, to answer these questions directly. If we run out of time here today, I promise we will follow up with everybody and try to get these questions answered for you.
Hey, Randy,
There's a question
Vanessa
about the recording. Oh yeah, absolutely, Vanessa.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt. Do you want to go ahead and finish, and then I'll chime in with a few things I've seen that I think we can bring to the larger audience. But go ahead.
That's perfect. The only thing I was going to say is that there is a question about this session, and if we've recorded it, We have recorded it, likely before the end of the day. If not, then early tomorrow morning, you will receive an email thanking you for attending with the link. Please feel free to share the link with any of your colleagues. It's open and shareable. Vanessa, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much. So a few things I wanted to mention that I saw come in through the chat that I thought we could bring to the larger audience for sure. So Claire was talking about the enhancements to activity level pieces, and there was a question about sort of like default settings that can be applied. So that's one thing that's you can control at the site level. So yes, you can sort of streamline things by putting in what you would like to be set to default acceptable file types. We also had a couple questions about mobile, which I thought I would address since that was part of my piece. Moodle has a free mobile app. So that's not something that's coming directly from eThink, which was part of the question. However, when you're working with eThink and that piece is enabled on your site, that's what sort of lets those two things talk to each other and allows your students to access that app and fully get the functionality of their courses through the app on their mobile device. There was a comment about accessibility with the app, and accessibility is such a big conversation, and it's an exciting conversation. And what I've noticed with the mobile app and really Moodle in general is that there is a huge focus on accessibility. So it does translate to the app very well from everything that I have worked with and tested. And I'm seeing more and more movement with that same piece within, just Moodle across the board. For an example, the Video.js player, which was introduced in version 3.2, you can include closed captioning, subtitles, chapters in your video right there within the player. And that speaks to one of the ways that we've really embraced accessibility and have that forefront of mind for learners. I think there was one other thing that I wanted to say, but it is slipping my mind. So I'll go ahead and stop there. And if it comes to me, I'll let you know, Randy.
No problem. And we're still getting a question every 10 or 20 seconds here. So we'll continue to try to answer these directly and privately. If you don't have any more questions, we really appreciate you joining us today. We'd love to have you join one of our future webinars. We'll do this sort of what's new webinar every time there is a new version, so about every 6 months or so. Thank you so much for attending. We will stick around and continue to answer as many questions as we can here. But for those of you who don't have any further questions, again, thanks for joining us. We do have a question here that I'll address that is eThink similar to Moodle Rooms? I'll say that Moodle Rooms is a competitor of ours. We've had 60 Moodle Rooms clients migrate from their service into the eThink environment. So if you are a Moodle Rooms customer and maybe you're not completely satisfied with the level of service, we also have some additional features and functionality that I think is really a true competitive advantage over their service. We certainly welcome the opportunity to chat with you. There's a question about themes, and that's certainly probably a better question for the services team, but I will say that there's a handful of themes that our team prefers, primarily because Moodle headquarters recommends them, and then there's maybe one or two others that we've worked with that we know are responsive. I believe, and I don't want to speak for the team here, but the Lambda theme and the Fordson theme are themes that we're comfortable with, as well as the Clean and the More theme. Folks, would you agree that those are probably the 4 primary themes that we see that we try to stick with?
Yeah, absolutely, Randy. I think I saw a question regarding a preferred theme for schools. And what I'd say is that primarily we see even higher ed K-12 using the Boost theme, which is the core theme for version 3.2 and on. Definitely a preferred theme. A lot of customization that you can do with that one. Definitely frequently chosen for use.
Now, I see a comment here. It looks like it might be from a consultant saying that they've been pleading with their customer to upgrade for a long time. Please continue to plead. If you do not upgrade, there are certainly security holes that can become an issue. It's one of our true advantages is that we do the upgrades for our client base. Especially, most upgrades are relatively straightforward. The 3.2 upgrade was sort of a larger upgrade that I know we provided our clients with a lot of additional professional development around. So please continue to plead, or if you have not upgraded and you're on an older version, it would certainly behoove you to look into the upgrades. There's a question that just came in about certifications. It's a pretty broad topic, but the direct answer is yes. If an assessment is completed, Moodle can absolutely deploy a certification to that user. Is there anything specifically you'd like to know about certs? There's a question about video conference tools. Almost all third-party ed tech tools want to integrate with Moodle. There's probably 200 million Moodle users worldwide, so it's a smart business decision to integrate with Moodle. So we work with Zoom and Big Blue Button, and there's a lot of them. That's what we see the most of, I think, in our client base. So Zoom being a very popular choice right now. We have a pretty strong strategic alliance with them. And Big Blue Button the same. Our customers actually can receive a piece of the Big Blue Button functionality for free with a limited amount of users. Both are great tools.
I'll jump in about Angie's question about printing certificates. That's definitely something that you can do. And Angie, if you'd like to talk about that further, we certainly can. Certificates, like Randy said, have been a pretty broad topic. And what we have found with our clients using them is that they're very custom to what that particular organization is attempting to do, how they want them to look. So it's a process that we have been working through to make sure that we have a good conversation, you understand how to use the module, and you end up with a result that is pleasing to you. So we can chat again about that offline, Angie, if you'd like. We can meet to talk about it if you want more specific help with it.
I'm sure there's some questions that we missed. If we did, our apologies again. We will have team members follow up with you. For the 60 plus of you who are still here and stuck it out till the end, I hope we answered as many questions as possible. I hope you found this session to be useful. We will certainly be in touch. And again, thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on the next session. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down for today. We will send a recording to all registrants. You're very welcome to everybody who's saying thank you here. We enjoyed having you. And to the services team, it's a really busy time of year. I know that. I truly appreciate you joining us and creating this session really for us today.
Thank you, Randy.
No problem, Randy. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us.
Since everybody's leaving, I was told today that Moodle can now accept Bitcoin as a way of payment for courses. So I thought I'd throw that in there at the end. You're welcome, Brian. Everybody have a good day. Bye now.